Hey everybody, it is Kendall Anise, and welcome to Remixing Relationships. I am your host, the Remix Coach, Kendall Lanise. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Today's been a little rough for me, but we're going to keep this thing going. I hope everyone is first. Thank you. Thank you for your continuous support of me and of this show. It doesn't go unnoticed. I greatly appreciate it. Um, and you coming back every Monday. So please do me a favor and share this out to your friends and to your family and tell them to watch. It's going to be a good show today. I got my notes as always, but I hope you are well. Remixing relationships is all about promoting healthy relationships and doing things differently. We all have room to grow and to do things differently. And that's really what it's about. You want to be better for yourself now in this relationship than you were in the last relationship. Or if you're in a relationship now, things can always be better with the tools and growing and learning. And if you're dating, you know what to do. So when you get in there, in the relationship, it's important to continuously grow and learn. No one ever gets to this pivotal moment where automatically it's good, you're grown, you're healed, and you're learning. It's all a process. So doing this show is a passion project for me because I want to continuously get better, and I want to really teach other people how to do relationships healthy, have healthy communication, have healthy love, have healthy laughter, have healthy spiritual base and foundation in your relationship, and doing things differently. Don't be that person who continuously does the same thing, in every relationship or in your current relationship. You can always remix it and do it differently. So it's all about promoting healthy relationships. That's what we want to do on this show every single week, is to promote healthy relationships, remixing relationships, doing it differently. All right, this week it is no different. So this week I have a lot of topics that I want to talk about throughout this podcast, and I'm going down my list. So this is an important one, and I have my notes right here as always. But we're going to talk about prayer, partnership, and progress. These are all essential elements in your romantic relationship because they contribute to a strong, resilient, and fulfilling bond between partners. So if you think somebody can benefit from this, take a moment and just share this out on your social media platforms as well as to your friend group, even the people you don't like or don't really know. Send it to them because it's all about growing. Let's grow and heal and do relationships right together. All right, so I want to talk about prayer, partnership, and progress. If you're doing all three of these things, you are winning in your relationship. If you understand the significance of prayer, partnership, and progress, then you're going to understand one another differently. Everybody, if you're in a relationship, you are on the same team, right? If you're dating, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, you should have a common goal. Everyone should be on the same team when it comes to what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish in your relationship. And the Bible says iron sharpens iron. And no one is going to be 100% in the relationship all the time. And no one is never going to be a 50-50. One person is going to give 50% and the other person is going to give 50%. Sometimes one person is giving 90 and the other person is given 10. I always talk about that. It could be 40-60, whatever it is. And that's what a partnership is. And we're going to talk about that because it's important to know and understand when your partner has progress and your partner is making progress in the relationship, or you're making progress together in the relationship, whether it's goals, whether it's anything that you decided that you wanted to do together, whether it's learning, growing, healing, you want to move forward in progress. And sometimes like a chess match, sometimes you're going to go forward to take 2 steps back. And that's where the growing and that's where the healing part lies in the relationship. So I want to first start with prayer, because for me, prayer is everything. And in a relationship, prayer can change everything. And sometimes it's best to sit and pray before you speak, or pray in your head and together when something is going on, or pray for the day, for the evening, for the night. There's never too many times or never too many prayers that you can say in a relationship. I really think that prayer solidifies a relationship and keeps a relationship together. And to have somebody pray over you or pray for you or pray for the relationship, I think that that strongly helps a relationship. So for many couples, as I state, prayers represent a spiritual connection that brings couples together. It brings you closer. It can foster a sense of shared purpose and values, create a foundation of trust, as well as provide comfort during difficult times. Gratitude and forgiveness, which are crucial for resolving conflicts and nurturing in love. If you're watching live, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining in on this particular subject, on this episode of Remixing Relationships. All right, let's go into partnership. Partnership is a success in a successful relationship. It requires both parties to work together. That's partnership. Work together as a team. Remember, you guys are on the same team. Partnership involves mutual respect, effective communication, and a shared commitment to the relationship. It means supporting each other through challenges, celebrating successes together, and making decisions collaboratively. When both parties view the relationship as a partnership, they are more likely to prioritize each other's well being and the health of the relationship. The health of the relationship. And that's what people don't understand. It in the relationship, it's the health in relationship, right? Um, and some people don't realize that in the relationship, to promote a healthy relationship, it has to be, you're looking out for the other well-being, the health and the well-being of the other party. And when we talk about progress, right? Progress is vital in keeping a relationship dynamic and growing. It refers to an ongoing development of the relationship, whether through personal growth, let's just say, sharing experiences, or the achievement of the common goal. Progress helps prevent stagnation, ensures that both partners continue to evolve together, and reinforces the sense that the relationship is moving forward. Continuous progress keeps the connection fresh and it deepens the bond. So you have to acknowledge, right, when somebody is making progress or progress is going through. And that's a part of effective communication. So many people in relationships feel like somebody's supposed to do this or they're supposed to do that, or they get comfortable and don't recognize, what somebody may be doing in the relationship. And sometimes people forget that it is a partnership in the relationship. It's not just about the woman, it's not just about the man, it's about togetherness. Like, how can we have, as I talked in one of the episodes about missions, every relationship should have a mission. I believe God brings people together for a mission, right? And for a purpose. And a couple of weeks ago, I talked about purpose partnership. But partnership, I want to read again. A successful relationship requires both partners to work together as a team. Partnership involves mutual respect, right? And a commitment to the relationship. It means supporting each other through challenges and celebrating together. So, in relationships, as you guys know, you've been in relationships, you're going to have ups and downs. Everything is not going to be up all the time. It could be up 80% and down 20%, or it could be up 90% and down 10%, right? And through those valley moments, that's when you grow in your relationship. That's when you learn, and that's when you push forward. And a lot of people in relationships, they just ready to give up right before, you know what I mean? And I'm the type of person in prayer, and y'all know, I believe that God sends people for people, right? And there's purpose in the relationship. And so many people miss the mark because they give up too soon. They be like, I'm out. And they're not, they're not going forth in the relationship to see what it has on the other side. And sometimes that's why it's important to be connected to the right partner, because sometimes God is waiting for you to get on the same page. That's why going back to prayer in the relationship is important. It's crucial because you want to hear from God together. When I think about the scripture, Matthew 18:19-20. Again, I say to you, if two of you agree on earth about anything, they ask if it will be done for them by the Father in heaven, right? So together. So even when you are praying and you're touching and agree, it talks about that. So if you have a goal in your relationship, or you have a relationship that you're trying to establish something, whatever it is, and one person is like, I don't know if that's going to happen. Another person like, it's going to happen. You're conflicting in what you want out of that relationship, because in a relationship, you are one person, the other person is another person. So you're not going to think the same, act the same, walk the same, talk the same, but you have to have some common goals and common ground. And then once you have that and you go through prayer and you figure out, okay, what is the game plan? Because in relationships, it's not just about love in the good times. And I know people think that because of the high that most people are on the first couple weeks or couple months of a relationship, everybody is on a high. They're the best person since sliced bread. But as people start to see people in different spaces, whether they're vulnerable, whether they're sad, whether they're challenged, whether they're afraid, whatever it is, people start seeing people in different emotions, and they don't like it. A lot of times they want you to stay the same person you were, for 4 weeks of bliss, or whatever it is, the honeymoon stage of a relationship, where that person can drink your bathwater and that person can do no wrong. But that's not realistic in relationships. When you spend time and you cultivate and you get to know, one another, then that's what happens. And it's important to be able to stay together in prayer so you can pray that thing out, or talk to God about it, or remember going back to partnership, as we're talking about prayer, partnership, and progress today. So, and you go back into partnerships. Okay, like, what is our goal? What is our game plan? We've fallen off track. Let's get to it. And then the progress is important once again. And if you're just tuning in, I want to repeat a couple of things. So progress is vital in keeping a relationship in the dynamic and keeping the relationship growing. It refers to the ongoing development of the relationship, whether through personal growth or shared experiences, right? Or the achievement of common goals. Progress helps prevent stagnation, ensures that both parties continue to evolve together, right? Togetherness. It reinforces the sense of the relationship moving forward. And continuous progress keeps a connection fresh, and it deepens the bond, right? So I find in relationships, people want people to be perfect. You're not perfect. So how do you expect someone else to be perfect? If somebody, so you say, okay, well, I heard certain podcast and she said prayer, partnership, and progress. Well, we didn't pray today, or we're not feeling like partners today, or we feel like it's no progress. Yeah, sometimes that happens, but you always have to get back on track if they're worth it. If your husband or wife is worth it, if your girlfriend or boyfriend is worth it, or you're worth it in the relationship, or if you're dating, I want to give you tools so you can enter the relationship and apply it. Remixing a relationship is, it doesn't matter how you did things before. Because oftentimes, if you're used to doing things the same way and you've done those before, then you continuously do the same thing in each relationship. And relationships are not one size fits all, right? It's about seeing how that person needs to be loved, needs to be honored, needs to be respected, both parties, because no one is more important. If we're dealing with a partnership, no one person is more important than the other in the relationship. One person going to have to be the quarterback for 1 day, 2 days, 10 days. The other person is going to have to be the receiver. They're just understanding, taking the information and applying it. Everybody is not going to be the star player, the star of the show in the relationship at the same time. So when people say, and I've said this before, when people say, well, it's a 50-50 thing, ask anybody in any relationship that they have ever been in if both parties give 50% at the same time. That is very rare. The percentage of that is extremely rare. I want to also talk about, well, let me go through this first. Um, Motivate. I want to talk, give me 1 second. Okay. So, like I told you, I got notes everywhere. All right. So, with prayer, let's go back there. So, prayer can help couples see the big picture, and they're comforted by God's love during difficult times. It can also help couples bond and create an understanding of acknowledging the day's events and asking God's blessing over each other. You know, I see people pray, and I see people, I mean, I've talked to people, yeah, well, she's in there praying or he's in there praying. And I say, well, do you guys pray together? They're like, no, but we go to church together. It's like, but do you pray together? Do you make time for God in your relationship? And a lot of people don't, because a lot of people are busy. Some may not believe, or some may think it's no big deal. And that's why you have to make sure you're evenly yoked. Now, if you're two people who do not pray, then that part is not going to work for you. It's not going to benefit you, right? Because if you don't, and you find someone else that prayer doesn't matter in their life, then that's a perfect combination. If both people say, well, I'm on a spiritual journey and this is what I believe, and I don't believe necessarily in prayer or something like that, then those two people that are together are going to believe that. And that's, it's about what you have and being evenly yoked and having something in common with the person you're with. Some couples may have trouble praying together due to intimidation, schedule conflicts, or other reasons. So, for example, is part of the one that I gave, or someone might be struggling with their faith in the relationship, or feel like they don't know how to pray. So it's not that they don't want to necessarily pray in a relationship. They may feel like they don't know how to pray, and the other person may be a stronger prayer warrior. So then that's something, then that's that partnership that comes back in line as we talk about prayer partnership in progress. So that will happen like, okay, well, that's what a teammate is. Every team is not going to drive. Think about basketball, right? We're just ending the Olympics. Think about track and field. Think about the relay races, or think about LeBron and them on the court as they were winning. Everybody, you had Steph Curry, you had LeBron James, you had KD, Kevin Durant. Everybody had their position it on the team. LeBron is not going to do what Steph's doing, and Steph is not going to do what Kevin Durant does, and Kevin Durant is not going to do what King James does. Everybody has their strengths in the relationship. So you're going to call on your partnership, your partner, your teammate, to be able to assist you when you're unable to assist in that type of area. And it's the same with track and field. they're a team. So if they're running the relay, you have to pass the baton to your next teammate because you're not taking the journey all the way by yourself. So you have to pass the baton to them. And that's what it is in a relationship. Everybody ain't going to be strong at the same time. You may not be weak at the same time. You may not be for the progress. You may not be for the partnership. You may not be for the prayer a time or two. So it's not about, and I really want to stress this, it's not about having the perfect relationship or doing everything the right way, because nobody in a relationship is going to do everything the right way. It's about finding a home base and coming back to that space. Like, okay, let's say, for instance, if you're in a house together and you sit at a table and you discuss issues or concerns, right? That might be the home base. That might be the safe place. Or you can say, hey, are you able to talk? Thank you. Are you able to talk right now? Let's find a place where we can talk and have a conversation, because cooler heads prevail, right? Or conversations. And if you go at somebody in a certain way, you have to remember how to speak to people, what to say, what not to say. You can't take back some things. You have to put sugar on some words sometimes and honey on words. And I know a lot of people like, I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to say it like it is. If you care about your partner, we're talking about partnership. If you care about your partner, you are going to put sugary words on it. You may add a little honey. You may pray before you speak. Let me make sure I come at this right. You don't want to approach a situation and regret something that you said or how you said it or what you did. And that's a partner. You don't want your teammate to suffer. You want your teammate to thrive. You don't want to steal the joy from your partner, because that's your partner. So it's important to, and I've seen a lot of marriages and a lot of relationships, knowing some, having some, seeing some clients, reading posts, whatever it is. A lot of relationships are not partnerships. A lot of relationships are transactional. What am I going to get? What you going to get? Let's do this. And they're not togetherness. And some people, they say it works. Some say it doesn't. But then that's where waters get murky. And that's when other people come into the mix and disrespect comes into play and all of these things, because of how people are, partnering together and how people are communicating with each other. It's important to know, like you want, I remember my mom when I was little, she used to always say about womanhood. You want for your sister what you want for yourself, right? So you want to give your sister, your friend, whoever, the same treatment that you get. Like, say for instance, this jumpsuit I have on. I if I love this jumpsuit, right? I'm going to give it to my sister, because you want for your sister what you want for yourself. I'm going to give it or tell her how to get it, or I'm going to celebrate her in that. I'm not going to be like, this is mine. You can't. You want for your sister what you want for yourself. You want for your mate what you want for yourself. If you want growth for yourself, you want growth for them. If you want abundance for yourself, you want abundance for them. If you want to win, you want to win together. And that's what a partnership is. And that's where the progress happens. But a lot of times people are in these relationships and it's like everything is fair game. Some people be in the same house and they're not talking. Some people are together passing like ships in the night, and they're not having dialogue. They're ignoring each other. They're not talking. They're acting like they're opponents on different teams. And that's not what a relationship is. Guys, I want everybody to remix relationships and do them differently so we can have successful relationships out here. Like, I'm passionate about that. I would love a successful relationship, right? So I can take some of the things that I've learned and share them with you personally and professionally. I talk to people all the time. Some people are in long-term relationships, but some people don't even talk to each other in the relationships, or they feel like the relationship cannot get better. It can get better when you pray together, when you recognize the partnership that you're on the same team, and you acknowledge and you tally off the progress, and you say, you know what, I see the growth in you at this point. Or I see that you're trying real hard, or I see that this. So I just want to acknowledge that. People want to hear that. Like, hey, I want to know that you are valued. I want you to know that, I can see you coming along. You may not be there just yet, but I can see the growth. Like, you want that type of partnership and that type of progress so you can see. It's important for you to recognize the little things in relationships, because when you recognize the little things in relationships, those little things in relationships go a very long way. It motivates someone to be better for themselves and better in their relationship. But if you're just saying, if you're not acknowledging anything that they do right, they're going to feel like they ain't doing nothing right. And you make someone feel like they're the weakest link in the partnership, and not a teammate, or they're your, employee maybe, and not the CEO just like you, then you're not empowering your mate. And that's what we have to do. And this is not just for women to be empowered. Men have to feel empowered also. A loving relationship is one that is built on trust, mutual respect, and affection. It's a relationship where both parties feel safe to express their feelings openly, even those feelings that are negative or difficult. That comes from an article. Everything else was mine, but that's an article that I found on LinkedIn. I'm going to read that again. A loving partnership is one that is built on trust, mutual respect, and affection. It's a relationship where both partners feel safe enough to express their feelings openly, even if those feelings are negative or difficult. Let's keep it real. Nobody wants to have a difficult conversation. Nobody wants to have a relationship that may, quote unquote, damper a mood. But sometimes real conversations have to happen. That's where the growth lies. Somebody might be telling you about yourself. You might be telling somebody about themselves. But if you're in a solid marriage or solid relationship, or partnership, you understand that it's not a negative thing to bring up something that may sharpen that other person in the best way. Malice. You understand it's not coming from a hurt, right? It's to sharpen, because you are on. If you're saying, I'm not going to be mad that you shot the basket in, because hopefully my assist and my freeing up my space in order for you to go through and do that, then that was the assist. So it's not the one that has the goal, because remember, we're talking about progression for the relationship. So it's important to be able to recognize someone's gifts and talents, and say that, and let them kick the field goal. Right? That's what it's about. And just think about, if you were on any sports teams, or if you were part of any organizations, or if you were part of any teams or clubs in school back in the day. Everything works together. And I think oftentimes people in relationships don't realize that they are a team. I see so many people fighting each other instead of fighting the issues or fighting the problems. They're fighting each other. And I read a statistic years ago, talking about teams. I'm going to see if I can find it. I just thought about that. But when people have played team sports in school, they work better together in relationships because they know what a team is. I want to see if I can find that. But if you guys have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you, whether you're watching live or the playback. So, it's live on YouTube every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the week of the podcast, it goes over to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, and Google Podcasts, and more. So each platform, I give you something different. So the gist of it may be the same, but I give a little extra for YouTube and I give a little extra for the audio version. That way you're getting both, because sometimes you can't just be watching the podcast or seeing me, or you may not want to see me. You might just want to hear me. So let me see. So team sports, I'm going to see something. Team sports and relationship. Let me see if I can see that connection. Because I read that years ago and I was like, it makes sense because you're on the same team. So let me see. Okay, team sports can help people build and maintain relationships in many ways. Let me see. And this is from blastmotion.com, says building better relationships through sports. There's a sense of belonging in sports and relationships. And it boosts your self-esteem when you're in a relationship, and it's almost like that team building. So when you think about team building, if you ever been at a job and they're team building and say, okay, we're going to take this day to go to this team building place, or we're going to have somebody come in and we're going to build this team so we can work cohesively and better as a unit, as a team. So everybody knows their roles, everybody understands what's happening, and they move forward for the common goal. But just like sports can help you build healthy and long lasting relationships, it also promotes cooperation and dialogue between the players, right? So it's different from an individual sport. If you like playing an individual sport where you could just do it yourself, and you're not you're taking your ball home and you're not a good teammate in sports, and you probably wouldn't be a good teammate in relationships. But it doesn't mean you can't remix it and learn from there, because ultimately that is the goal. Because all you single people out there, all you dating people, all you divorced people, it didn't work out. Even myself, hello, it didn't work out. So we have to come up ways to do things differently. Now, everybody you enter a relationship with is different than the last person. So again, you can't apply certain things to the same person. Some people need to be handled with care. Some people need straight talk, no chaser, like give it to me straight. Some people need you to sit over a meal and talk. Some people have to decompress before they go. Everybody is different. And as learn your mate, then you understand what they need. It's not going to happen overnight, but eventually it will happen. And you have to say what you need and what you want and what your desires are, so you can be the best partner you can be. But in relationships, one person is not in charge, or one person can't get his or her way. Two people listening to each other and working together to accomplish the goal. That's what partnership is in life. What does it look like? What does a healthy relationship include? What are the ingredients? As I'm talking about promoting healthy relationships, what is the ingredient? What are the ingredients? You're baking a cake, you're making a meal, you have ingredients to make this cake the moistest, the fluffiest, the greatest. It tastes amazing. You have certain ingredients. Now you can go and put some salt in there, you can put some paprika in your cake, or you can put all of the ingredients that you want to put in and not the ingredients that are needed to make this the best cake. And then I can ask you, how is that working for you, or how has that worked for you? So, healthy relationships include honesty, trust, respect, and open communication between partners. And they take effort and compassion from both people. Now, that was from, because if it's not me, I'm going to tell you it's who it's from. That's from ny.gov. Romantic relationships can vary, y'all. It takes honesty, trust. These are the pillars: respect, open communication between partners, and they take effort and compromise from both people. There is no imbalance in power. Partners respect each other's independence, can make their own decisions without fear of retribution or retaliation. Now, that's the thing. You can't be retaliating to your partner if you don't like something. You can't, that's not healthy. But people do that, don't they, y'all? People do that, retaliate. And, that's not a partnership. You're talking about, if you just tune in, we're talking about prayer, partnership in progress in relationships. What makes a good partnership? And we're going to wind down. So, being supportive, wanting the best for your partner, knowing your partner's likes, and being able to rely on your partner, offering encouragement when necessary. An individual is if you're in a relationship, right, and you're together, the individual is as good as the other one in the relationship. So, what do I mean? I mean, if you see your mate hurt, if you see your mate sad, if you see your mate upset, then you're going to feel some of those feelings because you are connected in that way. And you never want to see your mate cry or be sad or going through. So that is your teammate. So you want to do what you can. And then so many people are in relationships, but on an island on their own. I don't like that. I want you to come together in the most healthy way. I'm about to conclude this episode of Remixing Relationships. So if you guys have any questions or comments, I see you coming in. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. You could be doing anything with this time, but I'm glad that you decided to stay with me because the disrespect in relationships. I want people to be loving and kind towards one another because that's what it really is about, and a prayer is important for that because finding difficulty doing those things or understanding those things, prayer always works because you are on the same team and you want for your mate what you want for yourself. You don't want them suffering. You don't want them hurt. You don't want them sad. You are feeling those same feelings. So you have to come together and say, okay, how can we understand one another and how can we pray through this? Because if you're in the middle of arguing, let's just pray. How is that that's gonna cut everything out? You're gonna be like, oh, ooh, somebody want to pray? That's going to change everything, right? And then you say, hey, we are a partnership. We are a team. We don't fight one another. We fight other people for our goals and dreams, right? And that's really what it is. And that's how it should be. And then the progress comes. All right, y'all. So, what did y'all think about this episode? If you have any questions or comments, please leave them live if you're watching. If you're able to rate where you are listening, please do so. If you would like to donate to the podcast, please do so. I know YouTube has a way, 99 cents. It has different ways that you can give or support the show. I greatly appreciate that. I don't take it lightly. This is a labor of love because I want to see people win in love, right? It's about remixing it and doing things differently. So as always, I end, you have to be whole and healed in order for you to be in a healing and healed relationships. Relationships are mirrors often of who we are, and relationships also can heal wounds. right? It's not up to the person to heal the wound, but when you have a healthy relationship and healthy communication and conversation, and you have somebody that's riding for you and on your team, you're able to successfully grow with yourself and in love. It's all about remixing our thoughts, remixing how we do things, remixing the way that we speak to our mates, and and speak to ourselves, right? We have to know that we're worthy of great things. We are worthy of healthy relationships. It doesn't matter what your past looks like, whether you were married, whether you had boyfriend after boyfriend, or husband after husband, or wife after wife, or you've been single your whole life. It's okay. You can still go into a relationship. And a lot of people like, I don't want to go into one because I have so many hurts and pains from a past relationship. So I want to be single. But I'm telling you, there's growth in relationships. And if you cultivate them and take everything that you learn and put it into that, you have to find someone else who is doing that as well. You can't be doing all the work and the other person is not doing anything. Both parties have to come together in that partnership for the progress. And I say pray first. So this episode was all about prayer, partnership, and progress. All right, y'all. This is Kendall Anise, the Remix Coach. Make sure y'all follow me on all social media platforms. Please comment, share this episode out to everybody, because we want healthy conversation to go viral. Not always the foolishness. The foolishness is fine sometimes, but we want healthy conversations and healthy relationships and talking about things like this to go viral. All right, y'all. Gosh, y'all. And do y'all have any questions? Thank you for watching Remixing Relationships, and thank you for listening. I'll see if you guys have any questions. Any questions? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for watching. All right. So let me give something extra to YouTube, because I'm going to give something extra to audio. I turned that part off. Let's see. I turned that part off. All right. So do you all ever feel like, and you can drop your, whether you're watching live or the playback, does anybody ever feel like they're not good enough in a relationship, or they feel like they keep dropping the ball in the relationship? Does anybody feel like that? Does anybody feel like they've given everything they've had in relationships and maybe they don't get the same thing in return, so they don't want a partnership with somebody? Does anybody feel that way? Because I know I talk to people that do. When people see this episode, they will like it. Thank you so much. It's about, like, we got to come together and stop beating our heads up against the wall, right? And come together to say, okay, how can we make these relationships work? The divorce rate is 50% still. Some people don't even want to get married anymore because they like, I never seen a relationship work. I never seen a successful marriage. I never seen a successful relationship, and I'm not for it, and they don't want to, but we are better together. Even when you don't think so, we're better together, right? We can build together quicker when you have a teammate than doing everything, by yourself. It's good to have, be by yourself a time or two and take time for yourself and not go from relationship to relationship, right? But you got to, at some point, you got to say, okay, like, how can we make it together? We better together, but we got to have the right tools. And sometimes our childhood trauma, like a little boy comes into a little girl, but you are in adult bodies and you bring in your childhood trauma and their childhood trauma, and it's coming together and it's two little kids bickering. That's really what it is. Like two little kids bickering, two little kids arguing, but you're adults in the relationship. That's why it's so important to really recognize who we are and try to heal that, because once we heal that, we can have productive relationships. Now, I'm not saying you be in a relationship that is not serving you, or you be in a relationship that's abusive, or you be in a relationship that's a lot of disrespect and, all kind of foolishness happening. I'm not saying you fight for that partnership. obviously. You know what I mean? Not at all, but you fight for what you believe is good. And something that's why prayer is often important, because sometimes you might be thinking it's you like, oh, this is my choice, and you might be picking the wrong choice. I learned to let God choose for me. I don't choose for myself no more, or I'm not running that part of my life. I want healthy, productive relationships. So I'm allowed, prayer and God to be able to decide, and using my discernment, in those moments. All right. So any questions before I leave? I just wanted to give y'all a little bit more audio, because I give each something different. Something different. Let me see. Let's see. Let me take the banner off. Let's see. What's your question? Let's see. I want another relationship. I've been picking the wrong guys. Yeah, we all do. We all do. That's why it's so important to really pray and to understand yourself and know yourself, so you can make sure you make better choices and decisions. We've all been there where you'd be like, what in the world? But it's about making better choices and better decision. That's why I want to give the tools, stuff for you to think about. So if one person, like say for instance, you want to do the work on yourself, and you're learning and you growing and you're trying to figure it out, and then the person is sitting somewhere eating some Cheetos and some Cheerios, and they're not working on themselves, they're not going to work. That's why one of the best questions to ask is like, what are you doing for your healing? Have you gone to therapy? Have you gone to counseling? Like, what do you do for yourself to enlighten yourself, to grow? What are things important to you in life? Like, you want to ask those questions. It's important to do that. That way you can try to get the right person, because sometimes it could be the right person, but you haven't grown enough yet. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that both of them are in line. So while you're waiting, you still want to do the work. So do the work on yourself while you're waiting, and you're going to attract the right person to you. Really, that's really what it is. That's what it's about. All right, y'all. God bless y'all. Remixing relationships. Make sure you share it out. Peace. Thank you for watching.